Well, if we can get Faye What to put her phone down, we can start the show.
Sorry, I was actually looking at myself.
I'm so excited. What a great way to start the week. Monday on QNT.
And we have Nora with us.
Yay.
I made it back after some weeks.
Yeah, so...
and the women outnumber the men tonight.
Please don't even
Yes.
remind me.
Nice. Sisterhood is powerful.
Lesbians unite.
And Greg and I are going to be Wonder Twin Powers activate.
Yes. Touch your testes
Form
together.
of
What happened?
lesbian.
Right. And Cindy is with us, and Greg's with us, and that loud Miami girl.
Me. I saw Cinderella over the weekend.
Is it
Did
good?
you like it? I hear not so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
More Porter,
To be
please.
continued.
More Porter, please. Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's only live LGBTQ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Monday, September 13th, 2021, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. So whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. Yeah, you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, HotSpots magazine, and WMEG events. HotSpots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our community.
This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's welcome up first, anchor Faye What? She's a radio and television personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. Are you mugging for the camera?
I'm doing all kinds of
She's
stuff.
a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate, and owner of Faye's Fur Family,
Woof, woof.
and is the anchor of the travel news show Happening Out Travel. Also, make sure to catch the Faye What Show Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening, everyone. So happy to be here. So happy to start off this week with you guys. Happy Monday, everyone. All right. So, too much coffee, guys.
Too much coffee.
Too much coffee.
Yeah.
So let's welcome Cindy Brown. You guys know Cindy Brown. She's an icon in the LGBTQ plus community, early organizer of Miami AIDS Walk, the White Party for Care Resource, and other major events. She has served as executive director of Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber Foundation and LGBTQ Visitor Center. She is founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride, that's coming up this weekend, and currently serves as program manager for Jewish Community Services, LGBTQ Lambda Living Program for LGBT seniors. Welcome, Cindy.
Wow, thank you. It's so great to be here. And as Faye mentioned, Pride is this weekend. And Lambda Living will be hosting once again our Lambda Living Lounge for those more experienced Pride goers. We'll have a tent between 11th and 12th Street, right behind the parade grandstand. Come by and see us. We'll have healthy snacks and water and comfortable furniture to sit on.
Where's the whiskey?
Whiskey.
Keeps
I'll
it
have
off of
that.
herself.
I'll have that hidden.
I'm sorry, where's the vodka?
Yeah. We'll hook you up, Al. No worries there. Now let's welcome anchor Nora Rotella, a founding partner of Rotella and Hernandez, a full-service immigration and family law firm. She is a Supreme Court certified family law mediator and was co-chair of the Gay and Lesbian Lawyers Association and winner of Florida's Legal Elite Award. Good evening, Nora.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy. I'm so happy to be back with all of you. It's been a few weeks. So let's get this going. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, a 1999 inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 5 books of poetry. He's also an entertainment journalist. His celebrity interviews and music reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ+ and mainstream publications and website, and his screensaver movie review column can be found in South Florida Gay News, San Francisco's Bay Area Reporter, RottenTomatoes.com, and more. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, Nora. Hello, y'all. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, September 13th.
Well, we begin by queering up entertainment, and there's only one topic today. Little Nas X thanks Gay Agenda for Video of the Year 2021 VMAs win. Yesterday, the 2021 MTV Video Music Awards, the VMAs, had its share of queer moments, from Troye Sivan talking about returning to the stage post-lockdowns to Lance Bass talking about being in a boy band and his past VMA experiences. One person stole the show over and over throughout the night, and that's Little Nas X. First, from his Versace runway look, you've got to see the picture, to his bedazzled boxer briefs, he continued to show off his fashion sense. His performance of Industry Baby with Jack Harlow was full of energy, not to mention scantily clad prison mates. He also hit it big in the awards department with his controversial Montero Call Me By Your Name video winning Best Direction and Best Visuals. The gay highlight of the entire night was when Little Nas X also won Best Video for Montero. In his acceptance speech, he said, quote, "Oh my God. Okay, first, I want to thank you to the Gay Agenda. Let's go, Gay Agenda," end quote.
Can he do no wrong? Can he do no wrong? And then after he sent out a tweet, he said, "Suck my C. I won the Video Music Award." Like that. Like, well, and nobody was mad about it. We're like, yeah, suck your C. Yeah.
So that's part of his agenda. He gets up, goes to the gym, rehearses a little bit. Yeah. You know.
Right. Well, I always wondered what was missing from the Gay Agenda. It's
Little Nas.
Win a VMA.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I loved his outfit. I loved his outfits. I heard he got some shade for the lilac off the shoulder thing, which was everything. I did not like the Jerry curl coming to America look, the hair.
I agree. The hair, right? They could have done something else with the hair.
But I can see you in that, Nora. You could have totally rocked that pantsuit.
Absolutely.
Look at that Tacoma top. I mean, really and truly.
It's like a bad perm.
Little flashback.
Little Nas X has a bad perm. You know what's really super interesting about the moment here is, first, I continue to point out, this is just another notch in the belt of we're watching Madonna 1988 to 92. He is turning himself into a superstar that is going to pay amazing dividends. And second, I've got to correct his tweet. You said it. As noted, and we've reported it at Queer News Tonight, as a noted power bottom, you are the one that is sucking. Just saying. And I love it. I love it.
Next, let's queer up politics. Gay Republicans Aaron Schock and Richard Grenell hosted a Pride event. You weren't there? It was this event it was this weekend in Nashville.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you heard me right. Where was my invite, right? Gay Republican media outlet Outspoken, which is run by the Log Cabin Republicans, celebrated Pride this weekend in Nashville. The event was seemingly targeted more towards politics than actual pride and featured a who's who of who cares? Some stupid people were speaking there. Blair White, Ricky Rubel, Chadwick Moore, and disgraced Big Brother contestant and former Wilton Manors go-go dancer, J.C. Moundu. The featured speakers at the event were Richard Grenell and Aaron Schock. The announcement of their being speakers was greeted with much fanfare on Facebook, getting almost 100 likes, 100 whole likes. The event itself appears to have attracted at least a dozen of LGBT Trump supporters to Nashville.
Oh my God.
Well,
you know, it's a bad day when we are making fun of your 100 likes.
I know. Well, it's just who are those 100 people that liked it too?
I know. Well, and it's no shock that he's still a Republican and still fighting the bad fight as his beauty fades.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Days are numbered.
And they tried to make it very gay because they had like a drag brunch on Sunday, which nobody went to. Poor girls that had to work that, like they did a bingo. They tried to do it, gay, but
just like sex workers, money is money.
Yeah.
Hey, and one thing that I think is super interesting, we have reported on Mr. Grenell. I was going to say Richard, but no. We have reported on Mr. Grenell repeatedly, German ambassador. He's self-proclaimed first cabinet member LGBT in history, of which you're not, because you were not confirmed by the Senate. You were appointed and never confirmed by the Senate. I think it's interesting that Richard Grenell is out wallowing around in this event, calling itself Pride instead of political mumbo jumbo of whatever it is that they were doing. Well, the real first cabinet member, Pete Buttigieg, has become one of the most famous gay men on the planet. So sorry, Richard Grenell.
Absolutely.
So sorry.
Take that.
Yeah, well, now let's queer up gay culture. Alphonso David alleges racist treatment at the Human Rights Campaign in post-firing interview. Watch this.
I took on this organization. This organization was created in the 1980s and largely has been viewed as an organization for white men. And I came on as a black man to really challenge some of the systems that have been ingrained in this institution. And I am being treated this way, and I'm being treated differently, I believe, because of my race. We should not forget here that there are instances in the past where presidents of the Human Rights Campaign engaged in activities or made statements that caused disruption, that resulted in reputational harm, if you will, that resulted in protests in front of the organization's building. They were not asked to resign. I was asked to resign without a shred of evidence. I was asked to resign without any findings. I was asked to resign without a report. I was told that there would be an announcement on Saturday if I were to resign, to make it quiet over the holiday weekend. They wanted this to go away.
LGBTQ Nation reports that former Human Rights Campaign, HRC, President Alphonso David has opened up about the fallout from the investigation into former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo that eventually led to his own firing last week. David sat down with MSNBC anchor Jonathan Capehart in an appearance on The Sunday Show to discuss where he's going from here. David alleges that he was treated differently based on his race at the organization, citing past presidents and leaders who were white that were not being pushed to resign after controversies followed them. This marks the first time that David had spoken publicly since his firing first reported last weekend in the New York Times, hours before some employees at the organization were even told. HRC COO Joni Madison has become the acting president in his place.
I'm surprised he hasn't played the sexual harassment card yet. Or is he saving that?
It's probably the last card he's going to play.
Well, you know, I'd like to really see what the details of what happened are and what the organization did through their HR and going through those, you know, those movements. Because we can sit outside
let me call the card on the table. Does anyone think that the HRC board, the governing board, the organization itself is racist? That they would have made this move as a racist
How do we know, Al? Al, we really
Right.
don't know. And the reality is that how the world is right now, you pull that race card and everything stops, full stop. So you know what, devil's advocate, let's find out for sure if he is being treated differently. And if he is, then he shouldn't have been asked to resign how he was.
Right. Although I will say that white men haven't been the only leaders of HRC. There have been women who have led the organization.
This is so problematic. First off, to have a gay man, a gay black man that knows as well as probably there's only a handful of people on this planet that have his experience of knowledge of what goes on in the LGBTQ community. Here's the fundamental issue, and I've said, and at Queer News Tonight, give due process to him specifically when this news first came out in his association with Governor Cuomo. He is one of a handful of people on this entire planet that knows you are not going to try to destroy the person that is been accused of the sexual harassment. And they have suggested, and the Attorney General of New York has said he directly participated in trying to cover up Governor Cuomo's actions. That has nothing to do with whether he is a black man, a straight man, a gay man, or anything other than a terrible, sounds like Governor Cuomo-like action to cover inappropriate behavior. It's very disappointing to me that that person with that voice would now suggest it's a racist action. And also, I am disturbed by his comments because that is like saying it was okay if a white man or a woman did this at the HRC, but because I'm a black man, now it's not okay. Well, wait a minute. Bill Clinton was impeached and likely should have been impeached for his sexual conduct. Nobody would suggest that that shouldn't have happened, and it would have been unfortunate if a black man had done the exact same thing and therefore should not be impeached. And that is what Alphonso David is suggesting here.
I think it also may be, if these incidents have happened in the past, the environment, the atmosphere that we're living in now is way different than it was 20 years ago or so. But I don't have all of the details and the specifics. So
I agree. You got to wait it out. Check out do your
Due
investigation,
process.
do your
Look,
due
and we've,
diligence.
look, and we've all had a boss that has asked us to do something that we did not want to do. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know, so think about who his boss was, a big wig Cuomo. You know, so I mean, maybe he was asked to do some things that maybe he, that he knows weren't right, but he did them.
I'm curious, Faye, does that mean that he says, no, I won't do that? I'm sorry, Governor Cuomo, I won't do that.
You probably would have been fired.
Then he would have been
too.
fired.
Right.
You know,
That's exactly the point here of the irony of he was fired for not doing that. That's the irony in this situation.
Well, moving right along, let's queer up the USA. Half of LGBTQ plus people have faced discrimination at work, a new study finds. Almost half of LGBTQ plus people in the U.S. have experienced workplace discrimination at some point in their lives, according to a new report. The study published by the Williams Institute on Tuesday additionally found that nearly 9% of LGBTQ plus workers said they had been fired or denied employment in the past year due to their LGBTQ plus identity. The number was even higher for LGBTQ plus people of color, over 11% of whom reported having faced unfair employment or hiring practices. The University of California, Los Angeles think tank also found that transgender people face shocking rates of bias on the job. Almost half of trans workers, 48.8%, said they had been fired or not hired due to their gender identity. Additionally, over 22% of trans respondents said they had been sexually harassed within the past 5 years, compared to the approximately 12% of queer cisgender people who said the same.
wow. Wow.
That's not a
48.8%
surprise.
number is
It's incredible.
It's horrible.
But you really think it's accurate? I think it's low. I mean, I have worked in a lot of different industries. I've been blessed too, and every single one.
With trans, it's even higher?
I think it's even
Yeah.
higher, Al. I think and across the board, even LGBTQ, because it's for them to say half of us. I think it's more. We come out every day. We don't just come out once to our parents or to our people. Every single time we meet somebody new, we have to come out, right? And so in a workplace, doing so, then there's little jokes. Right. Then there's, then you're treated differently, and that has happened in every single different job that I've had.
Mm-hmm. You could absolutely be right. I mean, the number may be much higher. It's sad that that they have to live through this, that we all have to live through this. And it reminds me of a story. I met a transgender woman one time who worked she was a professional, had a good job at an accounting firm. And she did not feel comfortable coming out as herself for the fear of losing her position.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's no way of life. And I think it takes us all doing the necessary things to make sure that these things don't happen.
Right. The real shock in this report. The Williams Institute is a gold standard, by the way, in terms of study research at UCLA. The real shocking issue of this new report is I have had so many arguments with log cabin Republicans on It's Happening Out, where they have said there's no need for additional protections because the 1964 Civil Rights Act already protects you.
But it doesn't.
I turn and say, if 11%, much less 49% of women in America said, I didn't get the job or I was fired because I was a woman. Make it even more extreme. If 49% of white cisgendered men in America said, I was denied a job because I'm a white cisgendered man, we would be burning down capitals in the United States.
Totally.
Yeah.
This acceptance is A-OK. And the reason it is A-OK in America is because the 1964 Civil Rights Act does not protect lesbians or gay men, much less trans
Transgender.
people,
Right.
transgendered people. This is why the Equality Act must be
passed.
passed.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So that is our queer headlines for today. Let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6, 2020. Tonight, we report that as today, more than 2,929,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have contracted COVID-19.
Queer News Tonight remembers the more than 47,000 LGBTQ plus Americans that have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 380 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
Now, the CDC is closely monitoring results of the fully vaccinated. The CDC calls it breakthrough infections. As of September 27, 2021, more than 176 million people in the U.S. had been fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
Of those who have been fully vaccinated, only 11,440 have been hospitalized with serious infections.
The CDC reports that through September 7th, just 2,675 have died of COVID-19 breakthrough deaths after being fully vaccinated. The COVID-19 vaccines have become a historic medical miracle, and Queer News Tonight encourages you to get the vaccine. It will allow us to return to normalcy.
I love that story that we did, that a very high percentage of the LGBTQ community had already been vaccinated, you know?
92%
Yeah.
are.
God bless you guys, because we're
course.
smarter than the average bear.
Right.
aren't
I'm
we?
getting my booster tomorrow.
Girl, I got my booster 5 weeks ago. Okay, like I'm not playing. I'm not
Yeah.
playing. So
Good
get
for
your,
you.
you know,
It was
get your.
too early for me back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never too early.
What do you think about the vaccine rejection and all of the politics of masking? And
I think it's ridiculous. And I think in the beginning of the epidemic, it became political. And it never stopped being political.
It's still political.
And if it had been treated as a public health crisis, and everybody involved on both sides of the aisle had taken it seriously as a public health emergency,
Trump did that.
I
Trump
think
screwed that
that
all
we
up.
would be in a different position now. I mean, there are always going to be the anti-vaxxers and
what
so
do you
forth,
think
but-
about over the weekend the president's announcement of mandatory vaccines in areas that the president and the White House can touch? There's going to be mandatory vaccines.
That's how my agency, Jewish Community Services, has instituted a
Yeah.
vaccine policy.
Good.
If you're not vaccinated, you must get a negative COVID test every Friday before you can come into work on Monday.
But it's
Why wasn't-
sad. But
why
it's
wasn't-
sad that he has to go to that extreme with
Why
us.
wasn't it
That
done
we're, you know.
sooner?
Yeah.
Still, I mean,
You know, Friday night at 8, and then Friday night at 9, and then Friday night at 10, I heard a little explosion, and it was somebody at Fox News said at 8 and 9 and 10 that their heads exploded over the announcement of vaccines. Can you imagine with the day that we're talking about today, today's date, 12 months ago, of us trying to project in the horrible situation that we were in, please God, that we need a vaccine.
Yeah.
And it would come just 3 months later, and that we would be sitting a year later where nearly 40% have not taken the vaccine.
I mean, it's,
Can we
the evidence
imagine?
is clear. The evidence is so
Incredible.
clear.
Well, and
I
people
don't
were like, I'm going to
understand.
wait and see how, you know, how other people react. Nobody grew a third titty.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're not being tracked
third
by
testy.
it. Nothing like that.
Right.
you know?
I had someone today tell me, oh, yeah, I was so afraid. And
But now
they
what?
got their
But now
first
what?
shot already, and they're like, oh,
The
you
now
know
what?
It was nothing.
176 million have are fully vaccinated. Only 11,000 hospitalizations, and while it is sad, it is very sad. 2,600 people have died.
Out of
Remember,
176
out of
million.
176 million. Remember, you have 11 times the likelihood of dying from coronavirus being unvaccinated than vaccinated. 11 times the risk.
Yeah.
It's clear.
And when y'all come to Pride this weekend, make sure you bring your masks along and be as socially distant as possible. And please get your vaccine.
There you go. So that is our pandemic news for tonight. Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. We're broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine and supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
My name is Jasmine Price Lords, Florida Mother of the House of Lords, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, finally, we finish tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus Flash News. In LGBTQ plus Flash News, RuPaul wins 6th hosting Emmy, ties for most Emmys for a Black artist. RuPaul picked up the Emmy for Outstanding Host for a Reality or Competition Program at the 2021 Creative Arts Emmy Awards on Sunday. The trophy is the 6th in the category. Last year, when he received his 5th, he became the most awarded as a host. The trophy means that RuPaul has 10 Emmys personally. These include the 6 from hosting and the 3 as executive producer of RuPaul's Drag Race. The final Emmy was picked up on Sunday as well, when the RuPaul's Drag Race Untucked after show also picked up an Emmy for Outstanding Unstructured Reality Program. He is an executive producer for that project, which has been nominated ever since 2017. The 10 Emmys put RuPaul in a tie with Donald A. Morgan for the most Emmy wins by a person of color in the award show history. If Drag Race were to win Outstanding Competition Program at the Primetime Emmy Awards this coming Sunday, RuPaul, as executive producer, would break that tie.
You better give Michelle Visage one of those 6 Emmys.
I guess I'm right next, right? You go, girl. I have no idea what else to tell you.
Let's say he's come a long way since the RuPaul show 24 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have to build a new trophy case for all those Emmys.
I remind everybody at 10 Emmys, do you remember season 1 where the lighting was so bright? It was, why are you so bright, Miss RuPaul?
LGBTQ plus Flash News. HotSpots presents Scott Holland's What's Hot This Week. So every week, our partners over at HotSpots magazine present the hottest events in South Florida. So let's kick it off with Thursday night. The Adrian Arch Center for the Performing Arts of Miami-Dade County is pleased to announce the world premiere of Birds of Paradise, a series of dance-based queer solo portraits and an ensemble piece which explore the themes of agency, survival, and transformation. Then on Friday and Saturday, Hamburger Mary's Wilton Manors features RuPaul's Drag Race superstar, Trinity K. Bonet. And on Sunday, catch the final day of Miami Beach Pride, including the parade at 11 a.m. and a performance by pop sensation Maya. For complete information about these and other events, make sure to pick up the newest issue of HotSpots magazine on stands Wednesday.
Busy, busy weekend.
Come out and go out.
Yeah, and if you're going to Miami Beach Pride, don't forget to stop by and say hello to me in the PNC Senior Tent with Lambda Living.
We'll bring some vodka.
Yeah, I was going to say, and what bourbon are you going to be?
You know, I can't have a full bar, but if you give me some suggestions, I'll make sure to
The water is
stock
really
it.
vodka.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Remind me to tell you a story about
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus Flash News. The Evangelical Lutheran Church in America installs first out trans bishop. Gay Times reports that on Saturday, Reverend Dr. Megan Rohrer became the first out transgender bishop of the Sierra Pacific Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, ELCA. The ceremony took place in San Francisco and saw the attendance of nearly 65 bishops from an array of ELCA synods. Under their new role, Rohrer is set to serve a 6-year term as the bishop of 200 congregations in both California and Nevada.
Amazing news. I love where we are in 2021, although it's quite a contrast. We have more women of color, trans women of color, murdered ever in history, but we also continue to say motion of a new world is also underway in the trans community, and this is an example of it in this story.
Right.
Bishop Megan is a huge supporter of disabilities pride, and I love her for it. So that's why she's a great, great, great addition to this church.
These are just inspiring stories that, you know, the community has been able to overcome so many different obstacles, and amazing news.
And the ELCA has long been the more liberal and welcoming branch of the Lutheran Church, certainly more than the Missouri Synod, and for that they should be commended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just great news. I mean, so many in the religious community are really embracing the LGBT community, so that's good.
Well, the next LGBTQ plus flash news, organization of, hold on.
American States Commission calls for Venezuela to protect LGBTQ plus rights.
There we go. This thing started moving again. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights has called for Venezuela to do more to protect LGBTQ plus people from violence and discrimination. The report the Commission released on September 8th specifically notes 6 men on May 31st, 2020, attacked Jorge Granado in Ciudad Guayana, a city in Bolívar State, because of his sexual orientation. The report also notes Marcy Avila, an LGBTQ rights activist, has suffered harassment. The Organization of American States, which is based in D.C., created the Commission in 1959 as a way to promote human rights throughout the Western Hemisphere. It works closely with the Inter-American Court of Human Rights to enforce the American Convention of Human Rights.
You know, after last week's story in Madrid, where the person was attacked by these groups, these wandering groups of men, I look forward to the day when we don't have to hear these kinds of stories again.
You know, I think that the divide is just getting so much wider, and those that hate us really hate us, and it's so sad and upsetting.
The great problem here is, like Afghanistan, Venezuela is a pariah in South America. So the Organization of American States or the United States of America really has very little power to support the LGBTQ community in Venezuela.
More than a dozen LGBTQ plus folks this year have been murdered. Okay, that's the only reason you need to do more for our community, plain and simple.
Right.
I honestly don't have very little hope that much will change, especially in countries like Venezuela.
More LGBTQ plus flash news. Elton John and Lil Nas X swap looks, crack jokes, and new Uber Eats ads. During the pandemic, food delivery services became a lifeline for many who don't know how to or don't have the facilities to cook a hot meal. Now, Uber Eats has teamed up with Lil Nas X and Elton John, who themselves are teaming up for a track on Montero, as well as one on Elton John's upcoming lockdown sessions. The result? Fun banter, fantastic costumes, and the eternal debate of mayo versus ketchup on fries.
Watch this.
Tonight, I'll be eating lobster ravioli with shaved truffle. Yes.
You look amazing.
No, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Stole my look.
That wasn't it. You know what? Let's keep it.
Tonight, I'll be eating a club sandwich with fries and a side of mayonnaise. Wonderful.
Mayonnaise on fries.
A little judgy, don't you
That's
think?
weird. So weird. Tonight, I'll be eating a buffalo chicken panini with extra hot sauce.
Tonight, I'll be eating salmon sushi with a Japanese jiggly cheesecake. Jolly good.
Fire.
Naz,
Yeah.
spare a pound?
What?
You know, bones, shillings, lolly.
Lolly.
Bangers and mash.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't have any money.
You don't look broke.
My rocket is skint.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. And by the way, mayonnaise is great on French fries. I'm going to
Ew.
order from
You
Uber
are
Eats.
not an English woman. I love the color here, and who would have ever thought that a performer would come along and out costume Elton John?
Right?
Who are you kidding, little Nas X? With that body, you don't eat.
Right?
Listen, I'll totally do mayo ketchup. Do a mix of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a perfect opportunity for both because Lil Nas X loves to promote himself and Elton loves to, eat.
Shady.
The shade.
Shady.
So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates and share this news with your family and friends.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories are about our community. Deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television broadcast in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of the Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Cindy Brown, Nora Rotella, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure